Welcome to Drive the Daf. Clear, structured explanation of the daily Daf in 20 minutes. You can even follow in the car.
After Shabbos Daf Kuf Yud Ches begins with a discussion about how many meals we're supposed to eat on Shabbos. The Gemara has a machlokas about it, and the Gemara will try to bring three proofs to one or other side of the machlokas. Then we'll discuss briefly the halacha of washing the dishes on Shabbos. Then the Gemara launches into a lengthy agadata, which begins with a number of different statements about the wonderful reward for keeping the halachos of eating the right amount of sudas on Shabbos, and then we'll move into general praise for Oneg Shabbos, and then other mitzvos and their potential greatness. So the Gemara, first of all, has a machlokas between Rabbi Chidka and the Rabbanan as to how many meals a person is supposed to eat on Shabbos. Rabbi Chidka says you're supposed to eat 4 meals on Shabbos, and the Rabbanan say you're supposed to eat 3 meals on Shabbos. Now the Gemara is going to try to bring proof to either of the sides. We'll start with 3 potential proofs. The first one is from our Mishnah, which we had most recently seen, and the Mishnah says that how much food are you allowed to save from a fire on Shabbos? So there was a machlokas in the Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi said you're allowed to save 3 meals worth, and the Tanna Kama had said it depends how many meals you have left for Shabbos. So it says that if it's nighttime, you're allowed to save 3 meals. So the Gemara says that seems to indicate that there are only 3 meals, meaning you haven't eaten any meals yet, and you're allowed to save 3 meals worth. So the Gemara says no, it's referring to it's possibly referring to where you already ate a meal and still you have 3 meals left, and therefore it could fit with either opinion, either there are 3 meals or there are 4 meals. Now the next thing the Mishnah says is that if it's morning time, then you're only allowed to save 2 meals, and that would seem to indicate again that you didn't eat the morning meal yet. It's before the morning meal, and there are only 2 meals left in the day. That means that there are a total of 3. The Gemara says no, maybe it's after you already ate the morning meal and there are 2 meals left still, so there's 2 you already ate and 2 to go, so there's 4. Then the Gemara quotes the next line in the Mishnah, which is that if it's mincha time, then you're allowed to save enough for 1 meal. Again, the Gemara says the same thing. That seems to say that you've already eaten all 3 meals, and you're still that you haven't eaten the last meal yet, and you're only allowed to save for 1 meal. The Gemara says no, maybe you already ate the last meal, you already ate 3, and there's still 1 left that you're allowed to eat. Okay. So the Gemara says that's all very nice and good, but Rabbi Yossi says that you are only allowed to save for 3 meals, and his only argument with the Tanna Kama is that he says that it doesn't matter what you've eaten already, you're still allowed to save 3, but they both agree as to what the general number is. So you see, they both hold of 3 meals. The only issue is, if you ate a meal already, can you still save that amount? So it clearly indicates that there's only 3 meals. So the Gemara says you're right, this mission does not seem to fit with Rabbi Chidka. It clearly holds you only hold 3 meals, but again, that's not necessarily proof that Rabbi Chidka is wrong. Okay, now the Gemara has a Mishnah. This Mishnah will seem initially to not fit with either opinion, and then the Gemara will try to fit them in with one and then the other. The Mishnah says that if somebody comes to collect from the local town food kitchen, meaning where they gave out free meals to people who are poor, he's only qualified as poor enough to take from there if he doesn't have enough food for 2 meals. What's the reason? They gave out they distributed food from the soup kitchen once a day, and an average person needs 2 meals a day. So you need to have 2 meals in order to last you to the next day. If you have 2 meals you don't need today, come back tomorrow. Now, what if somebody wants to collect from the charity collection? That's given out once a week, and you need to have enough food for 14 meals in order to last you to next week. If you have less than 14 meals, then you could take now, because you're not going to make it till next week's money distribution. So the Gemara says 14 meals in 1 week is not enough. According to the Rabbanan, you need 15 because you need 3 for Shabbos. And according to Rabbi Chidka, you need to have 16 because you need 4 for Shabbos. So the Gemara says, well, it fits with the Rabbanan because you could just eat your Shabbos night meal, meaning your Matzah Shabbos meal, you could eat that on Shabbos. Eat a little earlier, eat it before Shabbos goes out. That way you'll have 3 meals on Shabbos, but only 2 per day, meaning Friday you have 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening, and the evening one is Shabbos. Then on Shabbos day you have 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening, but while it's still Shabbos. That way you have 3 meals on Shabbos, but only 14 meals per week. So the Gemara says it's not going to fit with Rabbi Chidka. So how are you going to squeeze in 4 meals on Shabbos with only 14 per week? So the Gemara says that's not so hard. You just make sure you eat your 2 Friday meals on Friday night. So the Gemara says, well, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to fast the whole Friday. So the Gemara says, no, this is not going to fit, but there is a way that we can fit this in with Rabbi Chidka, and that is that this Mishnah is holding like the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, who doesn't argue on them. You can fit with either of them, but Rabbi Akiva says if you don't have enough money, don't ask people for more handouts. make your Shabbos like a regular day. You should rather give up on special honor for Shabbos by eating more meals on Shabbos rather than demand more from charity. Therefore, a person only needs to collect 14 meals for the week, and he will only have 2 meals for Shabbos, and it doesn't matter whether he holds like the Rabbanan, and usually you should have 3, or Rabbi Chidkan usually should have 4. Okay. Now the Gemara goes to another Mishnah, which we'll try to prove. Whether we have 3 meals or 4 meals. This Mishnah says, what happens if you have a poor person who's traveling from place to place and he stops in your town? You should give him a loaf of bread. A loaf of bread which costs a pundion at the times when flour goes for 4 sa'ah per sela. Rashi explains that's enough food for 2 meals for him to travel for today and for the evening. Now, that's if he's passing through. If he's spending the night, then you should also give him something to sleep on, a bed with sheets besides for the food that you give him. Now, if he's spending Shabbos in your town, then you have to give him 3 meals worth. So that seems to clarify with the Rabbanan. You need 3 meals for Shabbos. Which says, no, this is referring to when he already had 1 meal with him. He still should be supported because he doesn't have 2 meals, but you give him 3 because he already has 1 altogether, he'll have 4. So the Gemara says, but hold on a second, but then when he leaves, he's not going to have anything to take with him. So Gemara says, no, when he leaves, then you give him food for the road. That's a separate calculation. That's not included in what he gets for Shabbos. Okay. Now the Gemara discusses the halachas of washing the dishes. Briefly, we have a brayso here. The Gemara says, the place which you use for the night meal, you're allowed to wash because you're going to use them for the day meal. The place which you use for the morning meal, you're allowed to wash because you're going to use them for the afternoon meal. Place which you use for the afternoon meal, you shouldn't wash because you're not going to use them anymore on Shabbos, and you shouldn't wash them to prepare for the week. However, cups, bottles, flasks, anything which is drink related, you can wash any time during the day because people don't drink at set times during the day. They drink throughout the day, and therefore they need to have clean kalim for all those things. Okay, now the Gemara begins its agadata. And the Gemara says, Rosh ben Pazi says, the name of Yeshua ben Levi, name of Bar Kapar, anybody who keeps 3 meals on Shabbos, he eats all 3 meals, will be saved from 3 terrible things. What are they? One is the birth pangs of Mashiach, right before Mashiach comes to be terrible tragedy in the world. Another one is Gehenim, and another one is from the war of Gog and Magog against the Jews. How do you see these 3 things? All from words that are used that have the term Yom in them. When we describe the mitzvah of 3 sudas, it comes from the fact that when speaking about the collection of the mun for Shabbos, Moshe used the word Yom 3 times. Also, discussing Chavei Mashiach, have the word Yom, like it says in the pasuk V'haya. It says, Hine Yanachi Shalech Hachem es Elia Hanavi Lifnei Boy Yom Hashem Hagadol V'Hanayra. That is right before Mashiach arrives. As far as Gehenim, it says Yom Evra HaYom Hahu Yom Tzar Mutzuka Yom Shoya Mashoya Yom Cheshach Afela Yom Anav Harafa. Lots of Yoms there. And as far as Gog and Magog, it says V'haya B'Yom Hahu B'Yom Boy Goy Galad Maskayim. You see, there's a lot of stress on the Yom here, and therefore the link to 3 sudas in Shabbos. If you eat the 3 sudas, you'll be saved from these 3 things. Now, next, Rav Yochanan says in the name of Rav Yosi, somebody who keeps eating Shabbos, he celebrates Shabbos with pleasurable things, he gets a inheritance, meaning ultimate reward in the next world without borders. How do you know? Because it says, Os tesaneg al Hashem, v'irkavticha abam se'aretz, v'achalticha nachlas Yaakov avicha ki pi Hashem niber. If you are tesaneg al Hashem, if you have oinig, if you have beautiful things, pleasurable things for Hashem, you'll end up with Nachlas Yaakov. What's the significance of Nachlas Yaakov, the inheritance of Yaakov? Well, Nachlas Avram is limited because by Avram it says, you will receive the land with its borders, up to its width and up to its length. To Yitzchak, Hashem said, Kol haratzais ha'el, you'll receive all these lands, also limited. But to Yaakov, he didn't say that. Yaakov, he just said, you will spread out north, east, south, and west in all directions, Yama, Vaked, Matzafin, Vanegba, without limits, and therefore he will get the portion of Yaakov, which is not limited. Okay, next, Rav Nachman Yitzchak says, somebody who keeps Oneg Shabbos will be saved from being under the thumb of the nations while he is in Galus, like it says, V'irkavticha abba masi aretz, and I will ride you above the hills of the land, and afterwards it says, and you will get to step upon their hills. Okay, and now the phrase "v'hirkavticha abba masei aretz" is as tisaneg al Hashem. That's where it says that if you have oinig for Hashem, that's the relationship there. Next, it says Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav. Anybody who keeps oinig Shabbos will get everything you request. Like it says, "V'saneg al Hashem v'yitein lecha mashalo eslibecha." You have oinig for Hashem, you will get all the requests of your heart. Now it just says Einig. I don't know what kind of Einig. But then later it says V'karasa Shabbos Einig, so I know it's referring to Einig Shabbos. Now what should you do for Einig Shabbos? What is the requirements of Einig Shabbos? Rabbi Yehuda, the name of Shmuel, Bar Shilas. In the name of Rav says you should have a soup made from beet leaves, and you should have a big fish and heads of garlic. Rashi explains these were considered to be delectable treats. Now Rashi and the Rav says no, you don't have to have such fancy things, even if you have something small, but you do it in the honor of Shabbos, then it counts as Einig Shabbos. What's a good example? It says Rav Papa Kisa de Harsana, a little cup of fried sardines, that counts as Kavod Shabbos. That is a minimum, but that fulfills the mitzvah of Kavod Shabbos. Okay, now we discuss Shabbos in general. Rabbi Chia bar Abba says anybody who keeps Shabbos correctly with all its halachas, even if he's an Ovid of a Desert, he worships idols, like the generation of Enosh, which was the first generation to worship idols, he will still have all his sins forgiven, including those. Like it says in the pasuk, Asher Enosh Yasezos, blessed is the man who does this. They use the term Enosh to refer to the generation of Enosh. But he keeps Shabbos from violating it. So the Gemara says, don't read that as Mechalei, but Mochal Loi, he will be forgiven for whatever his mistakes he may have made. Next says Rav Yehuda, the name of Rav, if Klal Yisrael would have kept their first Shabbos, they would never have to worry about trouble from other nations. Like it says, they violated the first Shabbos and went out to collect the money. Right afterwards, Amalek came to start up with them. Next is Rav Yochanan and Rav Shimon bar Yochai. If Klal Yisrael, the entire Jewish nation, would keep Shabbos for 2 full Shabbosos with all its halachos, they would be redeemed immediately. Like it says, Kayim Hashem l'sarisim asher yishmel Shabbos Yisai. This is what Hashem says to those who keep my Shabbos. And right after it says, V'avi Yosem l'harakochi, v'simachtim, v'heis tfilasi, and Mashiach will arrive. All we need is to keep 2 Shabbosim straight. Okay, next Rav Yossi says, I would like to be from the people who keep 3 meals on Shabbos. I wish I could be from them. Rabbi Yossi also says, I should be from those people who complete Hallel. They say Hallel every day. The Gemara says, what? Say Hallel every day? You're not allowed to say Hallel every day. We say somebody says Hallel every day is disgracing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because he seems to be indicating that this is all there is. And the Nevi'im said that you reserve Hallel for special days. You don't just say it whenever you want. You don't have anything to say in the special days if you say Hallel every day. So the Gemara says when he said Hallel, he didn't mean Hallel. He was referring to Psuki de Zimra, which we do say every day in Shachris. Okay, next, Rabbi Yossi said, I would like to be from those people who pray with the reddening of the sun. That means Shachris right by sunrise, and Ma'ariv right by sunset, when the sun is casting red rays across the clouds. It says Rav Chia bar Avin and Rav Yechanan, there is a mitzvah to pray when the sun is reddening the sky. It says Rav Zera, how do you know? Because it says, Yira'uchem shemesh, they will fear you with the sun, v'lifnei yarach dor doirim. Next, Rav Yossi says, now we have a long list of things that Rav Yossi has said. We're already in the middle of it. Rav Yossi says, I would like to be from those people who die from stomach pains. Like it says, this is not a pasuk, this is a statement from a Amora, most tzaddikim die from stomach issues. Next, Rav Yossi also says, I would like to be from those people who die when they're in the middle of a mitzvah. Now, Rav Yossi also says, I would like to be from those people who bring in Shabbos and Teferi. Teferi was in a valley, and therefore the sun is not visible very early. So I would like to bring Shabbos in early, like in the bottom of a valley. Umi Matzih, Shabbos V'Tzipar. I like to be from those who take Shabbos out, when, like those who are on Tzipar, which are on a hilltop, and the sun's rays last for longer, and therefore they keep Shabbos much longer. Next, Rav Yossi said, my portion should be from those people who call people to come into the base medrash and sit down to learn, and not from those people who say when its time is up and it's time to go for lunch. Next, he says, I would rather be from those who collect money for tzedakah, not from those who give tzedakah out, because it's very hard to do that fairly. You may distribute too much or too little to the wrong person. I don't want that responsibility. Next, Rav Yossi said, I would like to be from those people that people suspect him of a crime he has not committed. That's a great thing. And Rav Papa said, I was also suspected of a crime I was not committed. Now we have a number of other statements from Rav Yossi that are not related to Shabbos or tzedakah. Rav Yossi says, I was together with my wife 5 times, and I raised from that 5 tremendous cedar trees in Yisrael. Who are they? Rabbi Shmuel, son of Rav Yossi, Rav Elazar, son of Rav Yossi, Rav Chalafta, son of Rav Yossi, Rav Avtil, son of Rav Yossi, and Rav Menachem, son of Rav Yossi. What about Vardimus, the son of Rav Yossi? So the Gemara says Vardimus is a nickname for Menachem. He's called Vardimus because of Vered. Vered means a rose. His face was ruddy. like a rose. Okay, now the Gemara says, what do you mean? That means that Rav Yosi was only together with his wife 5 times. He didn't keep the mitzvah of doing it frequently as he is obligated to. So there's another 5 times where he did it twice in a row in order that he have a male child, which is what we've learned elsewhere as a skula for a son. And that's when he had these 5 sons. Okay. Now it says Rav Yosi, in all my days I never referred to my wife as my wife, or my ox as my ox. I called my wife my house, because she is the one who is the essence of my home, and I called my ox my field, because he is the one who is the essence of my field. Without my ox, I wouldn't have anything to do with my field. Next is Rav Yosi, because of tznius, I never looked at my bris milah. It says that can't be, because Rebbe, who's called Rabbeinu HaKadosh, was called that because he never looked at his bris milah. So if Rav Yosi did the same thing, he should be called Rav Yosi HaKadosh. Or Rabbi HaKadosh also. So the Gemara says, no, Rabbi had another thing, and that's that he never stretched his hand below the waist. Okay. Next, Rabbi says, the beams of my house never saw the seam of my cloak, the garment that he wore, and that's because he never had it inside out. He always took it off and put it on while he was under the blanket, and he took it off straight without flipping it inside out, so it was never exposed. Next, Rabbi Yossi says, I never violated what my friends say. I know that I'm not a kohen, but if my chaverim were telling me go up and do berachos kahanim, I would go because I always listen to what they say. Next, Rabbi Yossi said, in all my days, I never said something and changed my mind when somebody confronted me about it. If I said something, I was confident that it's okay to say it, and if somebody challenged me, I never had to hide from him what I said. Even if I said something about him, I said it correctly. Now, the Gemara has a number of Chachamim who say why they deserve reward in Olam Haba, and this is a list which will extend into the next daf. Menachem says, I will get reward in Olam Haba because I kept the mitzvah of eating 3 sudas on Shabbos. Rav Yehuda said, I will get because I did Ian Tefillah, I thought deeply about my prayers. Rav Huna Beit Rav Yeshua says, for me, because I never walked 4 amos without a covered head. Rav Shesha says, because I never walked 4 amos without tefillin on. Rav Nachman says, I never walked 4 amos without tzitzis on. Now Rav Yosef said to Rav Yosef, the son of Rabbah, your father, Rabbah, what was he very careful in? He said, tzitzis, one day he was on his way up the steps or up a ladder, and a string broke, and he didn't move from there until he fixed it. He stayed stuck in that spot until he was able to fix it and then move further. Abaye says, I will get schar because whenever somebody finishes a Masechta, I made a Masim, I made a party for him and for the other Chachamim. We'll pick up the rest of the list and after.
Drive the Daf is a project of the Grand Woodlands Shul and is presented by Rabbi Yitzchak Landa. Find us on YouTube or subscribe to daily emails by emailing drivethedaf@gmail.com.